Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan McCracken, and I'm making this video as kind of a get to know me, the motivations that have led me to pursue a career as a pastor, and kind of the defining moments of my life that have led into me becoming the Christian man that I believe that I am today. So I was raised in a Christian household. I had two amazing parents who were wonderful examples to me throughout my entire childhood, and I have two grandfathers who are both still very predominant pastors in their own fields. They live in different areas of Texas and Ohio, but they both still preach very regularly, and I have the opportunity to listen to them very often, which has helped guide me and mold me as the man and the pastor that I want to be one day. For me, the most defining characteristic has actually been because of a medical condition called Chiari malformation. And what that is it's basically a deformity in the back of my body that causes the cerebellum to slip down and become pressured by the top part of the spinal cord. And I had this problem when I was 6 years old, and they went in and removed vertebrae from my neck and created a bone fusion at the base of my skull. And this bone fusion was basically meant to do what my body was supposed to do normally, which was cradle the brain and keep everything, spinal fluid, blood, all of that stuff kind of moving regularly and flowing properly. So that happened at 6 years old, and it sounds major. It was major, but I was too young at the time to really understand everything that was going on. I can remember the look of fear on my parents' faces, on my grandparents' faces. No, they understood so much, but they properly kept it from me, which is something that I didn't understand as a kid. And now, as I'm older, not only do I understand it, but I truly, truly appreciate it. So that happened at 6 years old, but it was something that I was largely able to forget about for the most part. And by that I mean it's not that I was able to just erase it from my mind like it never happened, but I was young enough that I kind of was able to bounce back, and I was able to live my life to the most normal possibility that I could with a weaker neck. Well, when I hit the age of 18, I started to have what I came to call episodes, and these episodes were essentially my body shutting down in my sleep. And in my sleep, my body would essentially stop breathing. I was going into critical mode. My limbs were going numb because my heart was shutting down to try and keep blood in the important areas, which was my brain and my lungs, of course. So I would wake up in the middle of this and would essentially, through just sheer willpower, have to force myself into a sitting position so that my body could realize that there wasn't actually an attack going on and that I could breathe regularly again. And it turns out that this was essentially the Chiari malformation a second time, which is a very, very rare condition. Most people haven't even heard of Chiari malformation as it is, and to have a second operation for it, this is something that is maybe 2 or 3% of the people who actually go through this operation have to do this. So it's scary and very character defining for it to have happened, and it has led me into an interesting path for my life. I was always more of a kind of happy-go-lucky person. I always wanted to make everyone else happy, and I kind of just pushed my own emotions to the back burner. And that was something that I still attempted to do after the second surgery, but it's become as something, because this is right at where I am in life now. This only happened about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So this is something that I'm learning how to deal with on my own right now. And essentially, I'm still trying to be the happy-go-lucky person that I was when I was like 12, 13 years old, but it's a lot harder because of this last operation. Limited neck movement that I had from the first operation has now been limited even more. It's something that I can't control. So essentially, I'm at the same place that I was at when I was 6 years old, which was I'm trying to learn how to operate and move again in a completely different manner that is just not normal compared to most people. So I have to learn how to kick back and learn how to operate in a different manner again at my age. And on top of that, because of this last operation, there were complications that nobody could have expected, nobody did expect, and while it did save my life, it has caused me to unfortunately live with chronic pain. So I go into this position basically where I'm right at college. This happened and delayed my first 2 years of college, so I'm behind a little bit on what I should be. So I'm going through college with chronic pain and trying to find myself when my body just wants to shut down and I just want to kind of lay down, but even that tends to hurt some days. So I find myself trying to find avenues and outlets to try and get rid of some of what's become real depression for me, and God has given me this excellent opportunity to minister to the students of the youth group at my local church, and I'm very, very good friends with several of these students, and I've been trying to be a great example for them, and that's what eventually led into me choosing the study path that I have. And this study path is basically I'm trying to be the best example that I can for them, and to use the experiences that I'm learning now to be able to push myself further and further to eventually shepherd my own youth group. And I pray that these experiences are something that's going to be able to give me that as I lead later and later into life. But basically I'm learning at this point. It's all a learning experience, and I'm learning to deal with the pain, which is not the easiest thing in the world, and I'm fighting off depression sometimes, and it's not an easy thing for me at all. But I'm learning that it's not something that I have to handle on my own, and I'm trying very much to focus on the fact that there are people that I can open up to, and I'm learning to open up to them. And through these experiences, I know that God has given me an amazing testimony, and I believe that this testimony will give me the strength to be able to minister and to shepherd young students later on in my life. And I just pray that through my continued studies and through my continued journey through this pain, that one day I'll be able to look back on this and it will be one of the most defining characteristics of my life, but not in a bad way this time, but in a very good way. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you maybe learned something about me, and God bless.